an unseasonably cool 52 degrees in Gainesville, Florida. Nothing cold about the way the Gators have been playing here of late. Winners of 4 straight, trying to make it 7-3 in league play, taking on the Gamecocks 2-4 in the Southeastern Conference. As we say hello and welcome everybody. Good Wednesday night to you. Mike Morgan, Debbie Antonelli. And Debbie, the story coming out of the SEC Big 12 Challenge, obviously the SEC winning, that's number one. What Florida was able to do on the road, that's number two. This Gator team playing really good basketball, a lot of stars, and maybe a new one emerging in the paint.
Well, Colin Castleton certainly has been a star, if you will, as of late. Co-SEC Player of the Week, averaging 22 points in a big game on the road at West Virginia. He blocks shots, he protects the paint, he runs the floor rim to rim. He gives them an option on the interior to play inside out, and it helps create all that great balance around him. This is a team that has 5 players that average in double figures, 6 if you count Keontae Johnson. We'll have some news on him as the game goes on. But Colin Castleton has dominated on the interior, and he's coming off a big game. 21 points on the road at West Virginia.
Major news for Keontae Johnson. We'll call that an industry tease and get back to that later on. In the meantime, the Gators in white, the Gamecocks in black, led by 00 A.J. Lawson, who had it, deferred it to 7th Woods. Gamecocks looking for a tough road win against the Gators, who cracked the top 25 for the first time in 2 years. First shot by Lawson off the mark, but the Gators trail 2-0. Gamecocks on the board. Looks like Levesque got the tip. Farmridge starting 5 for Florida. Man locked. Appleby has been a terrific surprise, a transfer from Cleveland State. A couple of good rim protectors with Payne and Castleton. Gators have been shooting lights out from 3, leading the SEC at 38%.
Well, that's when you know that you have great balance and you have unselfish play. When Appleby turns down a wide open 3 for a better 3 by Locke, a better 3-point shooter.
We'll get the score fixed for you momentarily. Meanwhile, the starting 5 for Carolina. Jermaine Coustard, I mentioned A.J. Lawson. 7th Woods, they're hoping will gain more confidence the second half of the conference slate. Justin Minaya, a really good rebounder for Carolina. This is Woods, the former Tar Heel.
Castleton straight up like you just saw South Carolina do on the inside with Levesque. But he is a guy that they're trying to get established early to put some pressure on that back row of South Carolina.
Gamecocks leading it 5-3. Castle defers to Mann, having a terrific sophomore campaign, and hits the runner. What a different player, Debbie, Trey Mann is now in his sophomore year.
5 points a game last year, Mike, up to 14 this year. And when you talk to Mike White about him, he talks about how opportunity and success has given him a ton of confidence. He's been a terrific leader so far.
Minaya probes the baseline, but too hot to handle out of the hands of Levesque. Both these teams have faced their fair share of adversity in the year of COVID. As we alluded to Keontae Johnson, who has been out since mid-December. Gators have had a number of players out with injury and COVID. Nice alley-oop pass to Omar Payne. And then for South Carolina, Debbie, you're talking about a team that their head coach is now battling COVID for the second time. We talked to Frank Martin today, and clearly this season has worn on him.
Well, the disruptions, the inability to practice, the not having the reps that they're used to have certainly caused some trouble and some disconnection for South Carolina.
Nice drive that time by a guy they really would like to see get going. Jermaine Coustard, Frank told us, has been battling a little bit of a confidence problem. He said, I've had guys like that before, including Sindarius Thornwell, who turned out to be one of the all-time leading scorers in Gamecock history.
Well, one of the issues for South Carolina is keeping teams out of the paint. This is a great drive to the middle of the floor and a nice leave for Omar Payne at the rim.
Those are those rim runners Mike White was alluding to, Payne and Castleton.
Clear out match.
Cross-court pass stolen by Kusnard. Kusnard on a leaner, gets it to go. 4 quick points by Kusnard.
Hey, that's what South Carolina needs, Mike, to get something generated off their defense. That's what we're typically used to seeing from a Frank Martin team, but they forced 16.5 turnovers in the last 5 games. They've averaged 17 points off those turns. That's some easy scoring opportunity for South Carolina.
Appleby's shot misfires. Gators back defensively. Gamecocks working around the horn. Manaya with an open 3. Here comes the speedy Appleby. Sets up an open 3 for Florida. Lawson 1-on-3. And a tough shot blocked out of bounds. It will be Carolina basketball in Gainesville. The SEC Network Men's Basketball is brought to you by Zaxby's. Hand-breaded chicken and fresh ingredients made to order only at Zaxby's. Don't forget, tomorrow night we've got a women's basketball doubleheader for you. Georgia taking on Alabama, and LSU travels to 7th-ranked Texas A&M at 9 o'clock Eastern Time.
LSU, a couple of wins over ranked teams already this season in SEC women's play, and Georgia and Alabama sit at 5 and 4 in the standings. So this one important for SEC tournament seeding and for NCAA seeding.
You take a look at Frank Martin, who was very candid with us today, as he has been with the media for much of this year. We were talking about some of the adversity Florida and South Carolina have had. That's something both these teams really have had in common, but I'm not sure if there's any team in the league that has had it worse than the Gamecocks. Frank had to miss some time. The whole team had to miss a lot of time and trying to just get some continuity and some consistency. That's been lacking with Kusnard this year, but has been lacking in this first half. Already 7 points for the sophomore.
You see Coach Martin over there teaching while the game's going on, talking to his guys. You know, the 2 themes I pulled out of our conversation with him today was the words, you know, he's not able to be who he is as a coach because he's so good at building relationships with his players, and when you have that kind of relationship with your players, you can do the tough love thing in practice and get them where they need to be as young men, not just on the court but off the court. And then the trust factor comes from being connected on the defensive end.
Good defense there by 7th Woods. Can't finish. Manaya saves it though. Gamecocks on a 7-0 run, make it a 10-0 run as Lawson drills the triple, and Carolina's up 8.
A.J. Lawson leads this team in scoring, 4th in the SEC. This is a tremendous hustle play by Manaya. Keeps the ball alive, finds A.J. Lawson behind the arc, and the South Carolina Gamecocks are 3 for 4 from outside the 3-point line.
Talked about the adversity. 7 games canceled or postponed, 1 game missed by your head coach, not to mention several days of practice, and of course no games played for nearly a month. You know, one thing that they have done, I mean, we're not used to seeing Frank Martin teams give up 100 points to Auburn, 91 points to Vanderbilt in a loss, but they have mixed up their defense, and Mike White told us point blank, this has been one of the toughest games to prepare for because we're used to seeing Frank play man-to-man. Then they do a little pack line against Georgia. They play some zone in the Vanderbilt game, so he didn't know what to expect, and so far they've stymied Florida a bit. Nice up and under move that time by Castleton.
Well, Castleton capable of scoring one-on-one inside, and that's a matchup that I think he can win tonight. But to your point about South Carolina's defense, I wouldn't call it a soft cover because nothing about anything Frank Martin does would include the word soft. I would call it more of a condensed You know, just shrink the passing lanes a little bit more, not playing on the line or up the line like they typically do, but their defense has been good early.
Another steal for the Gamecocks, and there's one of the best finishers in the SEC, Keyshawn Bryant on the stuff.
Well, Mike, this is certainly not the start South Carolina had against Vandy in their last game. They looked flat. They didn't bring the energy. They admitted it after the game, and they look much better here on the road against Florida.
A 14-2 run for Carolina.
Well, look at the Gamecocks with their D. They collapse on the pass, on the drive, they help, and then they run ahead of the ball. If Keyshawn Bryant is ahead of the ball in transition, forget about it.
And how about the hustle by Keyshawn? He was the guy that poked it away on the steal, immediately put it in 5th gear and got to the rim on the other end. He's played terrific this year, by far and away his best season in a Gamecock uniform. And what we've seen from Lawson and Couisnard so far is what I thought we'd see from this backcourt all year.
Oh, I agree with you about Keyshawn Bryant. He's averaging 20.2 points per game in SEC play. He's been in double figures in every game but one this season. And he's shooting 58% from the floor. So if you can get some dunks and get some breakouts, that's going to make your percentage go up.
Frank Martin told us he's now his most vocal player. He used to not say a word. I would say, Debbie, if you and I were to rank the top 3 or so complaints we hear from coaches with the modern day player, a lot of them just don't communicate. They're just so quiet, so introverted.
Well, and especially this year where communication is so critical and you can hear everything that's being said, it's almost helped teams become better communicators on the floor, especially defensively, because you need to call out your action. You need to make sure you're connected.
You can't text somebody to switch on a ball screen or hit them up on Twitter, right?
Right, you can't say switch or high hands on Twitter, that's right.
Not until they allow cell phones on the floor, which hopefully that day is not coming. Gamecocks up by 9 with the basketball. Exciting start to this game in Gainesville. Bryant on a fade and fire. Top floor for the rebound is Scotty Lewis. Into the corner, 3 on the way, knocked down. DeRuggi is really playing exceptional basketball of late for Florida.
I think he has benefited from the extra minutes without Keontae Johnson. I mean, he has really shown some athleticism, and when he's on the floor with Jatobo, that's a tough back line because it's athletic, it's big and strong. And one of the things that Mike White can do at any point with his depth is change the rhythm of the game by his substitution pattern. Because he can bring guys in that can be long and athletic. He can bring in guys that can score. They got tremendous depth at Florida.
Hannibal gets the inbounds in at the last second and then gets hammered on the return pass from McCreary. You know, to go back to your point on this personnel for Florida this year, of course, it was a few years ago that Florida made it to the Elite 8. They actually lost to South Carolina and Frank Martin to go to the Final Four. And that was obviously his favorite team. Chiozza was one of the most electric point guards in this league. The more you talk to Mike White, and this is the 2nd week in a row we've had Florida, the more you get the feeling he really loves what he's got right now at Florida. That they have the athleticism to play the tempo that he has wanted to install in Gainesville for a while.
And or change the tempo, because you can't play 40 minutes at the same rhythm. You have to be able to change the pace, and he has the ability to do that. And to your point, Mike, there's a lot less noise around the start of the season for the Gators this year than last year. And I think they've been able to build confidence through their reps and through their success.
Another bucket for DeRuggi, this time on the drive. Little variety pack, the 3, and then the drive for the former Louisiana Tech Bulldog. Bryant fires up a 3. Gators down 7. Man, coughed it up to Lawson. Lawson on the breakaway, takes it strong and is hammered on the giddy-up. They'll go to the line for a pair. Looked like Payne got him.
Well, watch this play right here. This is just a good job of jumping out on top of that ball screen and then going hard to the rim.
The previous play is under review.
And they're going to take another look to make sure this doesn't elevate to the level of a flagrant foul. A.J. Lawson now in his junior season, the Canadian, putting together career numbers and certainly making a statement that he is ready for the next level. A lot of people thought he'd leave early last year. I think it was a good call to come back for a year. Quite frankly, he did not play great basketball as a sophomore. This year, though, it's been a whole other story.
Is there a play on the ball here? Is it excessive or unnecessary? You know, I think from this angle, it looks like Payne is making a play on the ball. There's a lot of body there. But every time I think that it's just a common foul, they upgrade it. So,
yeah,
you know, by the letter of the law.
My percentage is at an all-time low this year, Debbie. Don't feel bad. I'm with you. I don't think that was deliberate. But if you take the interpretation out of it, there is contact with the head. And sometimes that's an automatic in terms of flagrant. So we'll see how they score it here. Our officials, Anthony Jordan, Owen Short, and Ron Gruber.
I'm guessing they're upgrading it whenever they go to. So it'll be 2 free throws, Mike, and then you go back to the point of interruption.
And again, it's to go back to what I've started doing. Don't ever try to judge intent, because I don't think he intended to hit him in the head. I think he was a play on the ball, but he did make contact with the head, and that has become a very sensitive subject, and that's what the rules have been upgraded to the last few years. So we've seen more of these flagrant fouls called. So 2 shots and the basketball for Carolina. Gamecocks have really struggled from the free throw line this year. 64%. That is 320th in all of college basketball.
And you know, in the last few years, they have not been good at the free throw line, but they've been able to make up for it with their defense and their ability to generate extra possessions and offensive rebound. And this could be an issue for them this year, since their defense doesn't generate at the same rate, nor do they rebound at the same rate. Although I say that, and they're first in the SEC in offensive rebounding at 14 a game.
A lot of things about this Carolina team, though, are upside down from what we're used to seeing. Nice pass, Hannibal inside, and a beautiful finger roll by McCreary. By that I mean ordinarily great on defense. Sometimes they struggle on offense. This year they're racking up points, but they have not been good at all on defense. No box out, and an easy stick back for Payne.
Boy, he's active and long. He is aggressive on the glass. He's 6'10", and he's got a 7-foot, 5.5-inch wingspan. It's incredible length.
Bryant with 10 on the shot clock. Into traffic. Heavy traffic. Great defense that time by Florida. And Carolina returns the favor, forcing a turnover. Hannibal jumped in the air with nowhere to go. Under 12 minutes to go. Gamecocks on top, 24-16. Keyshawn Bryant rocking the rim as he normally does. The college basketball world was rocked when they saw a scary moment that happened in December. Keontae Johnson started off red hot, of course, the preseason SEC Player of the Year. But then on December the 12th, by now the images seen by so many, collapses on the court during a timeout. Florida, at that point, stopping all activities. Then he's released from the hospital on December the 22nd. Mike White telling us something that we weren't told before, and that is, there are a lot of people that thought Florida within the program might not even continue, but this is the news of the day. This is from the family of Keontae Johnson. Quote, the unanimous conclusion of all experts is that Keontae's medical emergency was not related to or a result of a previous or current COVID diagnosis. He's not going to play the rest of the season. That is not a surprise. But, Debbie, I think there were a lot of people waiting on that news for a number of reasons. This was not just about Keontae Johnson. This could have had a massive impact on the game had it been the other way around.
Yeah, no question. So December 12th when he collapsed, it's not COVID related. And the team of experts that came to this unanimous conclusion consisted of Cardiac and Vascular Institute in Gainesville, UW, Mass General at Harvard, Vandy Medical, Yale University of Medicine. I mean, there are a lot of experts that weighed in on this, so that is good news for Keontae and good news for his family. And of course, we wish him well. And we know, according to Coach White, how engaging he has been in practice and how much he lifts the spirits of the guys.
He's almost served as a de facto coach. They gave him a whistle. He's on everybody. He's been in high spirits. I did not know, it's the first time Mike White shared it with us, that when that all happened, and needless to say, it was a traumatic experience that a lot of the players for Florida still will never forget. There was talk amongst the coaches that if the players decide they don't want to keep playing after this, then they would literally cancel the season. I mean, that was on the table. And obviously 2 weeks off, you have a chance to process a little bit. You come back, and he said the players were chomping at the bit. They wanted to get back out there and play. Keontae Johnson wanted them to come out there and play. And if there's any way you can take a otherwise sad story and turn it into something positive, Keontae Johnson and this Florida basketball team have done just that.
Good change defensively by Florida, and everybody turned to box out.
This hustle out of the hands of Bryant. Lawson and Kusnard have combined for 16 of the Gamecocks' 24 points. A tough break there as the pass from McCreary hit the bottom of the net.
Back-to-back stops for Florida.
And there's a great two-man game between the two guards. Mann and Locke finding each other and then setting up an open three for Trey Mann.
Florida runs the lanes hard and wide, and when you do that, you open up the top of the floor. That's why Mann was so wide open on the top for that three. And I like the change by Mike White defensively, and everybody turn into box right here. That's 3 consecutive stops in a row for Florida off the last timeout.
Castleton, kick out pass, wide open three on the way and off the mark. Gamecocks up by 4, coming up on 10 minutes to go in the first half. There's a 3-ball from the corner for Carolina. That's Nelson.
Oh, nice reject the screen by Mann.
Kusnard. Appleby draws a block foul. Appleby, one of the fastest guards in the SEC, and what a find he has been for Mike White. You know, he was a kid out of Arkansas, and everybody liked him. He was so productive, but they just kept saying, too little, too little. Did not get any D1 offers for the longest time, was going to go JUCO, then a few started coming in at some of the smaller schools like Missouri State, Abilene Christian. Winds up going to Cleveland State, all Horizon League member. And then when he hit the transfer portal, Mike White, who of course coached his brother at La Tech, said, we got a spot for you, and that's where he wound up in Gainesville.
Well, he's solid. I mean, he's got great numbers. He's a terrific director of their traffic, is what Coach White says. He's a good communicator, and he's got the right DNA since he coached his brother at Louisiana Tech. He knew all about the family.
Brother Raheem, a bigger guard and very productive player for Mike White. Hannibal on a crossover.
Not really good spacing that time offensively for South Carolina.
Back-to-back misses. Here comes Carolina up 7. Bad pass that time.
Yeah, Minaya was not open. You know, that's a tough decision in transition, and allows the open corner 3.
And that is a guy you do not want to leave open anywhere on the floor, especially behind the arc. Noah Locke, who for his career is a 41% three-point shooter. Air ball from Lawson.
Well, the 1-3-1 right there forces a quick shot by South Carolina.
Man tried to go behind the back. He got bailed out. It'll be off the Gamecocks. Florida basketball with 8:17 to go. Alley-oop pass. Derucci, top floor on the slam.
That was too easy.
Lawson. Gamecocks have missed 7 of their last 8.
Remember when I was talking about changing the rhythm of the game? Well, this is what Mike White has done coming off the last time out. They've changed their D. They've gotten a little bit more up-tempo because they've been able to get consecutive stops.
Appleby surrounded. They work it around the horn, into the corner to Locke. 5 on the shot clock. Here comes Derucci. And a runaway freight train. That'll be an offensive foul. It'll be Gamecock basketball when we return.
Check this out-of-bounds playoff. He comes from the top of the key. Too easy for the Gators.
I can't say lately it's been overly surprising because we've got, despite Keontae not being able to help us on the court as a player, we've got other very good pieces, and we've got talent, and we've got a little bit more experience than we've had around here the last couple of years, especially last year, a lot more experience, despite still not having a senior. So, I can't say I'm surprised, Edgar, but I guess pleased that we've been able to get a little bit better, and guys have been as resilient as they've been.
Well, resilience has been the key for a lot of teams really in college basketball this year, but for Mike White and Florida, considering what happened with Keontae Johnson, the time off at that point, number of injuries, number of games missed with both COVID and injuries. And Debbie, the expectations last year, we talked about preseason top 10. They were clearly overrated at the time. This year, Florida was kind of flying under the radar, and now all of a sudden, top 25, everything's clicking. This might be one of the best jobs that Mike White has done in Gainesville.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, they were ranked or receiving votes every week but one in the AP poll, and then this week they finally got ranked number 22. But when you talk about balance, you can score from 5 positions. You only have one guy that is in the top 20 in scoring in the SEC. Yet you put 78 points a game on the board, and you're tied for second in the league right now. I mean, they check all the boxes offensively. They can do it all on the offensive end. And changing the rhythm of the game defensively is a real feel for the game by Mike White.
That whole last possession started with a Castleton block, and then a Castleton move down low for a bucket. We highlighted him in the open. Colin Castleton, who was seldom used at Michigan, averaged just 2 points a game during his time with the Wolverines, comes to Florida. Again, there's not much buzz about getting the young man who's from DeLand, not that far from Gainesville. But what a find for Mike White and company.
Well, he was like 2 points and 2 rebounds a game at Michigan, and he has really evolved. 4 times he's been over the 20-point mark. He's second on this team in scoring. He's second in the SEC in field goal percentage at 64%.
Last time Florida led this game was 7-5 early going. A chance to take the lead here. Quick hands by Kusnard. Almost had it again. Don't forget on Friday Night Heights, LSU and Auburn. Top 25 matchups right here on the SEC Network. LSU 3-0, Auburn 0-3.
You know, the other thing about Castleton that I love is he can't keep that shirt tucked in. He's working so hard. You know, he's always tucking his shirt in.
He always plays a little bit, to me, kind of angry, which sometimes could be a good thing. Nice shot there by Locke, showing some mid-range game.
I think it's max effort on every possession. He plays like a guy that appreciates the chance to play and loves the game.
Yeah. 9-0
again, this zone. The zone has been a big part of them being able to make this run.
Lawson, boy, Carolina needed the bucket in the worst way, and A.J. Lawson gives it to him.
Well, that's who should be taking the shot when you need a bucket, right? And he gets right into the chest of Colin Castleton.
Castleton had it rejected by Keyshawn Bryant, who had a few choice words after the swat. I mean, that man is a human pogo stick.
He's active, he's long. Minaya doing a good job of holding his own in there, and then great help from the backside. And not only does he block it, look where he blocks it into their transition game. A.J. Lawson just lost his footing. Otherwise, that would have been an easy 2 on the other end.
You know, we see a lot of guys that are flirting with 40-inch vertical leaps, but there's just something different about Keyshawn Bryant and his explosiveness when he jumps. You want to talk about quick twitch. It's not just getting the 40 inches, it's how quickly he gets to those 40 inches off the ground. I mean, he has been a human highlight reel for the better part of 3 seasons in Columbia, but now he's actually developing a game to go along with that athleticism.
Well, we know most guys that stay with Frank Martin do get better. And
right.
Keyshawn Bryant would be a perfect example of that. He's evolved on the offensive end. He doesn't shoot the 3 as well yet, but that's a part of his game that's emerging. But quite frankly, he can score on a closeout anytime, anywhere.
15 points a game for Bryant. Tie game, 5 minutes remaining, first half from Gainesville. Minaya on the drive. High off the window and in. Tough take for Minaya.
It's a really good take when he can get to that left hand, be able to turn the corner.
Double team on Castleton and hammered by Lawson, who tried to rake it out.
See, that time Keyshawn Bryant came all the way from the weak side. He's guarding DeRougie. So Castleton needs to process where that help is coming from, because that backside is wide open if he can make that play.
2-time SEC Player of the Week, Colin Castleton. Boy, did he come up big in the second half against West Virginia.
And watch DeRougie in the corner, and then the ball gets entered into Castleton, and Keyshawn Bryant doesn't wait for him to turn or put it on the floor. He brings the double right away.
It's only the 16th foul, so no free throws. Inside Castleton. No double team that time, but he missed the bunny. Bryant dribbled into traffic, lost it. Man on the other end, and he is fouled by Bryant and almost pulled off a sensational block.
There's a lot of traffic in the middle of the floor, and good steal by Mann. And a recovery, and look at that closing speed by Bryant to make Trey Mann earn it at the free throw line.
Trey Mann, highly touted guard out of Gainesville, Florida, did not have to go far to start walking on campus at U of F. And sometimes that even adds a little more pressure. A lot of people in your ear constantly, people that you've known since your childhood. Much better player in this his sophomore year. Some people question whether or not he could man the point for Florida. He's done it admirably well. Couisnard has it pop out.
He's done it well because, according to Mike White, he wants to constantly get better. He's very curious. He asks questions. He watches a lot of film. He wants to be the guy that helps his team continue to evolve.
Anticipation by Minaya on the steal. Here comes Lawson in the lane. Beautiful reverse layup right at the shot blocking Castleton.
Well, you get Castleton away from the basket a little bit and you make him defend on the perimeter, move his feet. You can attack him off the bounce. He's less dangerous than standing around the rim waiting to block a shot.
DeRucci guarded by Bryant. Shot clock under 10. Man in the lane. Finger rolls it in right on Minaya.
See how spread everybody was. They knew they had the one-on-one. It's a great matchup for Trey Mann against Minaya.
Minaya spot and fire three, left it short. Now the Gators will try to make you pay on the other end. Really good in transition. Open three for Locke. They do it so well, Debbie.
That's the easy choice right there and the smart one. You got what I call the 3 W's of a good point guard. Who to get the ball to, when and where. And when you got Noah Locke spotted up with his feet set under his shoulders, he's one of the best all-time three-point shooters in Florida history.
And then an offensive foul called on Kusnard.
Watch this play right here. Nice job. Right foot, wrong foot, finish. And then a nice runner by Trey Mann. 3-point Gator lead.
Have highlights for the 3 games going on right now, including a big day for Coach Mullen and Coach Beamer there on National Signing Day. And we'll also celebrate one of the iconic names in SEC football history. South Carolina fans know who that is. Mike Morgan, you think Chris Doering's wearing a fur coat tonight in Gainesville?
I think so, and he's probably doing CrossFit in it, knowing Chris, who is 12 months out of the year always making sure he's got the beach muscles going on. That's just the way Chris rolls. See the Gators 8-0 this season when leading at the half. By the way, Peter, I saw what you did there, mixing in a little football with these 2 schools. Of course, Shane Beamer with his first recruiting class, trying to elevate that program after a tough few years, and Dan Mullen with a top 10 recruiting class for Florida. These 2 teams have a few things in common, including Steve Spurrier, who's the all-time winningest coach at Florida and the all-time winningest coach at South Carolina. Now spends much of his time in Gainesville.
Are we talking football?
We are always
talking
football. National Signing Day today, and guys will break it down, chop it up at the half. Meanwhile, we've got a really good one going here between 2 teams that are in different spots. Carolina could desperately use a road win, get their confidence going. Gators trying to stay red hot, looking for their 5th consecutive dub.
So how about this? South Carolina with extended pressure, falling back into a 2-3.
Air ball 3 from the corner. What do you want to see out of from the Gamecocks the rest of the way offensively?
You know, keep moving the ball. They're right now in their possessions. They're about 70% cutting with a late ball screen late in the shot clock. Otherwise, they've done a nice job of spreading the Florida defense out. See, like that's a pull-up jump shot that you have to make.
Foul away from the ball. Hannibal took the shot. And they got Mann. So 5 team fouls on Florida. Been a pretty clean game overall.
Really important for South Carolina to keep Florida off the free throw line. Florida, a good free throw shooting team. As a matter of fact, they were terrific against West Virginia. Part of the reason why they were able to win on the road. They made 25 out of their 30 free throws.
Hannibal off the inbounds draws the foul, and he'll get a pair of free throws. Well, on Saturday, busy action once again in the SEC. Texas A&M taking on Arkansas, who's looked really well of late. Picked up a win against Mississippi State, of course, last night. And right now, Joe Lenardi has them as one of 6 teams in the NCAA tournament. Debbie, I'm scheduled to call that one. I hope it takes place. Texas A&M, in case you're wondering, tonight we were going to lead into that ball game. Texas A&M was going to follow us tonight, but they have been hit by the COVID bug, so that they are unable to play tonight. And we'll see whether or not they'll be able to go by Saturday. It's just part of the deal this year in the year of COVID.
Again, back-to-back possessions, spreading it out, or extending their defense, Mike.
Gators got a number of shooters on the floor. This is one of them, man. Hannibal got a hand in his face. Shot clock down to 4. Man, misfires. Offensive rebound to Rucci. A minute to go, first half. Inside Castleton, what a feed.
Really nice. South Carolina does a good job recovering off the offensive rebound to run Noah Locke off the three-point line. And then it's good work by Castleton. Keeps shaping up and working at the rim.
Kick out pass, Minaya. Cold first half from the floor for Minaya. Had another good look.
Offensive rebound, DeRugi immediately kicks it out, and then watch Castleton still shaping, working inside. 2 feet in the paint, 2 points for Florida.
Minaya missed the shot, and there was a whistle and apparently a foul on Carolina, so a 1-and-1 for the Gators. And Noah Locke, the junior guard from Baltimore.
You know, Mike, as long as South Carolina is going to extend their pressure, you know, Frank Martin typically sends 3 to the glass. Now, they lead the SEC in offensive rebounding. You can really go to the glass hard if you're going to keep extending that pressure, because then you don't have to sprint all the way back and allow South Carolina or allow Florida to get into their transition game.
You know, as Frank reminded us, he was talking about Mike White's teams over the years, they've had a lot of good rim protectors, but not guys that are truly a threat at the rim offensively. Castleton is that threat offensively.
I think he's a two-way guy. You have to game plan for him on both sides of the ball now. You got to find a way to pull him away from the rim on the defensive end, and offensively, you got to bring 2, mix up your coverages, continue to do what South Carolina has done to try to make him think and not let him play instinctively.
Full court man-to-man by Florida. 2-second differential, shot clock to game clock. On the drive, no. Rebound to Appleby with 5. Appleby speeding into front court with 1. And might not have counted anyway. That'll be the end of the half. The Gators will take a 5-point lead in the locker room. Florida 8-0 when tied or leading at the half. Lawson with 13 for Carolina. Locke with 13 for Florida. As we now send you to the one and only, the incomparable Peter Burns.
Thank you, Mike. Welcome into the SEC Halftime Report. I am Peter Burns, but I can't do it alone.
Entertaining first half from the O'Connell Center in Gainesville as the Gators lead the Gamecocks 40-35. Florida looking for its 5th consecutive victory as we welcome you inside our humble abodes. Mike Morgan in Atlanta, Debbie Antonelli in the Palmetto State in Charleston. Debbie, speaking of the boys from the Palmetto State, the Gamecocks did a lot of things right in that first half, got out to a 10-point lead. Lawson was terrific and then started to cool off a bit. What does Carolina have to do to stay in this game in the second half?
Well, you know, Mike, they started out shooting the ball really well, 3 for 4 outside the three-point line, but they're just 1 for their last 11, and they need to get to the free throw line. They need to be able to get on the glass offensively, and I think if they continue to move the ball, they only have 6 assists on 13 made baskets. I think they need to move the ball better, and if they do that, I think they'll have a chance here on the road.
Noah Locke leading the way for Florida. He also had 13 points, including his normal precision from behind the arc, 3 of 5 from downtown for Locke. Well-played game in the first half. We'll see what's in store for half number 2. The first and only meeting between these two teams this season. 7th Woods, who had a quiet first half, leads the Gamecocks into front court.
7th Woods coming off his season best 11 points in the last game against Vandy.
Fires up a brick, but there's Lawson to clean it up. Lawson's great night continues. He's got 15.
So
Lawson
South
had a
Carolina,
career high.
excuse me, Mike. South Carolina missed 20 shots in the first half, and they offensive rebounded only 5 of them. So they got to do a better job getting on the boards to get some easy buckets.
Paint touch for Payne, and he knows what to do with it from that close. Lawson in traffic, misfires. Castleton with another block of Levesque. Man on a runner. Silky smooth, Trey Mann.
Right foot, left foot, right foot, wrong foot. He can do everything off the bounce. So creative.
Woods somehow snuck that in on Castleton.
See, that's it, Mike, right there. See, they're looking to attack. They've been off the bounce here to start the second half. They've been on the offensive glass, playing much more physical and more aggressive on the offensive end.
Woods was a phenom in high school at Hammond in Columbia. And then went to Chapel Hill, lost some confidence there, trying to gain some in Columbia. No confidence lacking for 00 in black. A.J. Lawson playing like an all-SEC performer.
Yeah, he's locked in every night. I think he brings his A+ game on both sides of the ball.
Mann takes it in. Little two-man game with Mann and Castleton. And Trey Mann, a great finisher at the rim.
Just so creative in being able to go, like I said before, get to the paint, score off of either foot, score quickly. Sometimes you can't play the game off 2 feet.
Lawson, great take, and A.J. Lawson with 19 points.
You just keep going to Lawson right now if you're South Carolina. You keep running his play. Call his number. Dump the package that you have offensively. Empty out the whole playbook on Lawson.
Sounds like a winning formula to me. Lawson guarding Locke. Shot clock down to 7. Rise and fire Appleby. And a nice box out by Levesque. 3-point game, under 17 to play.
You got Lawson over here all by himself.
Woods. Look at 7th Woods coming out in the second half. 2 big buckets, and it's now a 1-point game.
Well, he was 0 for 2 to start the second half.
And a foul on the other end drawn by Trey Mann. This would, without a doubt, if somehow Carolina could pull this off, be their biggest win of the year, defeating a ranked team on the road, a team that is rising up the charts. Joe Lenardi has had them at around a 6 seed. I mean, it wasn't that long ago the conversation about Florida was, are they a bubble team now? I think we can pretty much remove that, barring a collapse in February. Now that's a team that has a chance to be a high seed come March. Inside Payne, and Payne draws the foul.
Yeah, Payne does an excellent job of posting up and good timing on the pass inside.
Good timing on the graphic. NCAA net rankings. You see the SEC. Can't stress enough how big it was to defeat the Big 12 in that challenge. Remember, the narrative from a lot of people was the Big 12 might be the best conference in college basketball. SEC getting the best of the league for just the second time in that event. That helps the metrics for everybody in the Southeastern Conference, even if you didn't play in it, even if you didn't win in it. I'm so happy that those two conferences were able to get that on the map. And I love when it's played, Debbie. It's not in November, December, when not everybody's focus is entirely on college basketball. You play it right at the end of January where everybody is locked in.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good change of pace. It comes at the right time for both leagues.
Anaya puts his head down, takes it strong, but took it strong on the wrong guy. Castleton with his third block. Appleby on a three in transition.
So much confidence shooting a ball in transition like that. Not sure you had numbers, not sure you had rebounders. That's a lot of confidence to take that triple.
Another block by Castleton. They keep taking it in on Castleton.
It goes without saying that you can't over-penetrate against him.
And Castleton dropping dimes, big to Omar Payne. Florida with 7 blocks. They're on pace for a school record, averaging 6 a game. 7 already in this game. Coming up, why Gainesville is still a special place to Frank Martin. It all dates back to Miami Senior High School. Well, everybody credits someone in their life for their success, and for Frank Martin, it's that guy in the middle that you see on that picture. Of course, on the far left is Anthony Grant, and in the middle is Shaky Rodriguez, who gave Frank Martin his coaching opportunity. He was the JV coach at Miami Senior. Shaky, of course, the longtime varsity coach at the legendary program in Miami. And Frank Martin said he had never been to a college campus before he went to Gainesville, when Shaky Rodriguez's Miami High teams participated in the Norm Sloan basketball camp. He said it was an eye-opening experience. He learned a lot, helped set the stage for him to eventually get into coaching. And of course, the rest is history. Debbie, if you want to see me get humbled, I can tell you my story of playing at the Norm Sloan basketball camp against those Miami High teams. It really brought yours truly down to earth. Those teams were loaded. I was not.
Well, Coach Martin was very emotional in bringing up Shaky's name and sad that he has passed, but you could tell what he meant to him and how much he's had an impact on his life. And, you know, Frank's not just the math teacher. You know, he's got a lot more layers than that.
Yeah, he sure does. Shaky passing away in the month of November. A legend in high school hoops in the Sunshine State. I know, Debbie, you really liked that timeout called by Frank Martin.
I did, but I didn't like the shot selection going inside to give Florida another block shot. That's 8 for the team. I mean, you can't get away from A.J. Lawson. He had the hot hand to start the second half. I think you need to run offense through him. I'm sure Coach Martin is not pleased with that possession.
Somebody is devoid of a shoe. The referee on the baseline picked it up. It looks like A.J. Lawson is the man with one shoe. So Carolina playing 4-on-5. And a tough shot by 7th Woods, who has hit 3 in a row. And that will allow A.J. Lawson to get that shoe back on that very valuable foot for the Gamecocks.
Watch this pass right here. He knew the double was coming. He drops it off. Remember, he processed it in the first half. He finishes it in the second. 4-point Florida lead here in the second. Colin Castleton. It's not just a castle, it's a fortress on the inside. He's got 5 blocks already in the game. He's done a terrific job of scoring inside. He's read the defense, he's dished it, he's a willing passer. He's done a little bit of everything, and he's coming off of 5 blocks in the West Virginia game. Mike, this guy knows how to play D, and I think we better be putting him in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year, considering how well Florida is doing as a team on that end of the court.
No argument. I like what you did there, Castle and Fortress, and you're right that with his help, they have built a fortress around the rim this year, averaging 6 blocks a game. Again, that would be a new school record. And what's interesting to me, I mean, some guys in this league have a reputation where you just kind of stay away from them. Abdul Adu comes to mind at Mississippi State. Guys seem content on continuing to challenge Castleton as if they haven't seen the scouting report that he blocks a lot of shots. Castleton gets it on the offensive end.
Well, here's the thing, too, Mike. He blocks all these shots, right? He has no fouls, so he can stay aggressive.
Right.
On the season, he hasn't disqualified out of any games, and he's blocking shots at that pace. That tells you just how good he is, because he stays aggressive, he's smart, he's got great timing, he's quick off his feet.
Nice tip in by Lebec. That's an outstanding point. That's underrated, Debbie, on shot blockers. Strong take by Lewis. Wanted a foul, didn't get the whistle. There's a lot of guys that block a lot of shots, but they foul all the time because they try to block everything and they have no discrepancy going straight up as opposed to going right into the body. He is a very disciplined shot blocker.
And you could say the same thing about somebody with steals, but the opposite point. Every time I see somebody leading the league in steals, I always go and look and see how many fouls they have, because it's a risky, high-reward play. But it also requires some analytics, and it requires some instinct. And he's got all of that with his shot blocking capability.
Not a good possession there. Sloppiness on the passing for Carolina. This is what the Gators do. They make you pay for your mistakes. Another three. Locke. 2 misses.
Let's see if South Carolina can run something for Lawson here.
Lawson, there you go. I mean,
well, they didn't run it for him, but he just cut. You know, he made a good, smart play.
21 for Lawson. I mean, just ride that horse like it's Secretariat. He is in a zone tonight. 21 points, 5 rebounds in 24 minutes of action. A.J. Lawson saving his best for his junior season.
4 times in we'll make this 5 out of 7 SEC games. He's been over 20 points, Mike. And I love watching him because he's a guy that benefited from taking a dip in the NBA, finding out what he needed to improve on. And he's come back and he's done that every year. He's gotten better, stronger, smarter with the way he plays and the way he moves.
A little bit of a prayer thrown up by McCreary. Lawson, by the way, 3 points away from 1,000 for his career. Gamecocks hanging in there with 11.5 to play. It's a 4-point game. Tough shot by Mann. And a nice box out by McCreary. Kusnar. Hannibal down low, McCreary. In heavy traffic, goes reverse style to avoid the block, and it's a 2-point game.
Ball reversal, attack the closeout, cut to the bucket. Principles that I know Frank Martin's teams work on all the time.
Castleton was bellied up by McCreary and draws the foul.
Well, it's another 20-point night for A.J. Lawson. He continues to add to his tally of 21, approaching 1,000 points on his career. Great cut from the weak side to the strong side. Bucket, South Carolina.
Three Smiths in that game. We've only got one Lawson. We've only got one Castleton. But they have both shined brightly tonight in Gainesville.
They've been terrific, and A.J. Lawson, look at that 21-point right now. He's done fantastic on the offensive end, and he's really looked to assert himself here in the second half. And then Colin Castleton, 4 of the last 6 games, he's had 5 or more blocks. Impressive. Going to get a break.
A much-deserved break for the young man out of DeLand, Florida, the transfer from the University of Michigan. One thing you notice right away when you watch this Florida team compared to the last couple of years, if you go by pacing, these are Ken Palm numbers, and I don't like burying people too much in stats, but this is pretty digestible. 2 years ago, 344th in the country in pace. Last year, 326. They are much quicker this year, and that's something Mike White wanted to do, and he's got the roster to do it now.
Well, they got a lot more speed, and even without Keontae Johnson available this year to play, they're just long and athletic on the wings. But what they've had to do to adjust is playing with two bigs. Like with Keontae Johnson, you wouldn't have Castleton and Payne on the floor a lot together. And they have adjusted offensively with that lineup, and it's worked for them. And, you know, credit to Mike White and his staff for figuring it out with the personnel that they have, because it's certainly not what they planned for this summer.
Meanwhile, Carolina on an 8-0 run. Seven Woods playing out of his mind. A bucket the last possession and a beautiful dime there to Kusnard. And Carolina is back on top. Timeout Mike White and the Gators. A 10-0 Gamecock run.
South Carolina running the floor, moving the ball. That's a live ball pass right there. What a great delivery by 7th Woods. Perfect feed, help late at the rim.
(57-55) our score here. Want to remind you, tomorrow night, women's basketball doubleheader for you right here on the SEC Network. Number 25 Georgia battling Alabama, and LSU travels to College Station to take on the 7th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies.
Texas A&M sneaky good now. They've been ranked in the top 10 all year. They're a Final Four contending team. I think they're sort of my dark horse on the outside. But Georgia and Alabama, they are fighting for seeding in the tournament of the SEC and the NCAA tournament. Should be a good one.
We got a good one here. The last time the Gamecocks led this game was with just under 4 minutes to go in the first half. Up by 2 now on a 10-0 run. Appleby, oh, that's a tough shot. What a big time three by the transfer from Cleveland State. Lawson trying to respond. Rims off, Hannibal is there. Offensive rebound, had it blocked. And a save by Appleby.
I like the play call though. Ball screen, middle of the floor, throw that kickback or throwback pass to Lawson on a lift on the wing. He got a good look. The other thing too is part of the reason why South Carolina is such a good offensive rebounding team is they take, when you take shots that you're supposed to be taking inside the system, you can get to the glass.
Shot clock under 5 for Mann, and he gets bailed out on the foul. He had really no good look with the shot clock dwindling down to 3 seconds, but gets the whistle.
Trey Mann has been terrific in this second half of the middle third. I mean, he's been runners, floaters, making plays late in the shot clock. He's got 13 points, 8 rebounds. He's got 3 assists to go along with that.
You know, it was the Andrew Nemhard show the last couple of years. So Trey Mann was really trying to find where he fit last year. This year, he's the guy, and he has responded at that point guard spot, and he gets plenty of help from Appleby as well. Appleby somehow stays in bounds. Beautiful kick pass. Mann misfires. Here comes Carolina on a run out. Lawson has it stolen away.
See, that's where Lawson's got to keep it and take it hard to the basket. He had numbers.
Lewis inside Castleton.
Good duck in.
Tearing it away is Levesque on the rebound.
How about that effort on the glass by Levesque?
Seven rebounds for Levesque. Number 15 in black playing tough minutes for Frank Martin. Gets it inside. Levesque gets it to drop. And the Gamecocks back on top. How about the performance tonight by Wildens Levesque?
He is a screen and roll guy. He is a hard roll to the rim every time. Good find by Lawson. He's not going to pick and pop. He's going to the rim.
3-ball by Mann, and a response by Trey Mann. 16 points now for Mann.
Well, that was a chance to trap, and he turns it over.
Lawson on the turnover. Appleby around the screen, in the lane. Beautiful feed to Castleton, who's fouled. All set up by the playmaking Tyree Appleby.
Well, Trey Mann's working on a double-double, Mike. He's got 16 and 8. And look at this hustle right here. Keep the ball alive. That's what you do when you're the leader. You make plays like that.
Every voice and sing.
In 1991, the University of Michigan's Fab Five took the college basketball world by storm. The all-freshman starting lineup of Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, Juwan Howard, Jimmy King, and Ray Jackson became icons with their baggy shorts and exciting style of play. And 4 of the 5 players would play in the NBA.
And of course, the Gators taking part in their messaging on the sidelines. Number of different T-shirts that they have been showing off throughout the season. Scotty Lewis, very outspoken in the offseason. You talk about the Unfab Five, and you hear that name, Juwan Howard. Well, Juwan Howard now doing good things as the coach at Michigan. Colin Castle didn't do much at Michigan, didn't get a lot of minutes. Transfers to his home state and the Florida Gators, and all he's done is become one of the top big men in this league in a rapid amount of time, and he has been outstanding tonight.
9 points on 10 shots, so they've made him work. But he has 5 rebounds and 5 blocks.
You know, Debbie, how I feel about big men who don't like to live beyond the three-point line. I'm still old-fashioned enough to like some big men who actually like to play big and just stay in that paint.
Yeah, but don't worry, next year he'll be shooting the 3.
Yeah, right?
He'll be out there where I like to see the big guys.
Expanding his game. There's a lot of activity on that alley-oop pass down low. I think it was an alley-oop. There you see Castleton's numbers on the night, 11, 5, and 5. Of course, the blocks don't even include the altered shots by Castleton. He's not just 6'11", he's long arms, big hands, everything you want in a shot-blocking force and a rim protector.
Yeah, and he picked up his first foul, at 6:50.
There's block number 6, a half dozen for Castleton. And Florida converts on the other end. Omar Payne on the slam.
So this is a really dangerous time right here for South Carolina. So they've got to be productive on this end of the floor. And they've got to get some points and find A.J. Lawson.
Season high 11 rejections for that Florida defense. Bryant back in the game. Bad pass, but it will remain Carolina basketball with 10 to shoot.
Bryant's got to handle the ball better, and that angle was not a good angle to make the delivery inside. But look at this block right here. Number 6, and he keeps it in play, and it leads to their transition game. That's the way I like to see players block shots, Mike.
Right,
not into the 5th row. I want to see it, keep it in play, and send your team the other way.
That's what Bill Russell used to say, right? When I block a shot, I don't want to just block it out of bounds. I want to set up transition, block it in play. Shot clock to 7. Here's Lawson going to work. Had it stripped by Appleby and out of bounds to Florida.
Quick hands by Tyree Appleby. And see, I'm thinking Lawson right here, like he needs to take him down to the block, invert to the inside. He rejects the screen. But look at the defensive effort by Appleby. He doesn't let A.J. Lawson get by him. He keeps his hands active.
Appleby. Misfires, tapped around. Gamecocks clear it. Bryant to Kusnard. Inside McCreary. He thought twice about going up on Castleton. Woods from 14 gets a friendly bounce. What a second half for 7th Woods, who has 10.
Back-to-back double-figure games for him, and that is a terrific cut. His player gambled on that uphill pass, and he made a nice play to get open.
All 10 points for Woods coming in this second half. And Appleby lost the handle. Great defense by Kusnard. Carolina on the run out, and Bryant on a two-hand flush. It's a 2-point game.
What an answer. When the momentum was swinging the other way, South Carolina makes a couple of big plays here defensively to make it a one-possession game.
Castleton goes to work, and he's got it blocked. Great defense by McCreary. Block party in Gainesville tonight. Kusnard from take, no, McCreary yes. Tie ball game, under 5 minutes to play. Man, off a shake and bake, too strong on the jumper.
Well, this is where you want the game to be on the road if you're South Carolina. Now you got a chance, okay? Frank Martin telling them to spread out. Nobody on the block. They're running with an empty block right now.
McCreary, turn and fire, no. Out of bounds to Florida with 4 minutes on the dot remaining. All tied up at 65.
Kusnard off the bounce to the cup, and then McCreary with the finish.
Timeout for tonight's Protection Spotlight, brought to you by Allstate.
Well, it's a good play right here at the rim. It's a block, ironically, by South Carolina. They've got a couple of blocks tonight, and it leads to their transition up the floor. Kusnard attacking, and McCreary with a jam.
Gamecocks on a 6-0 run over the last $1.46 to tie it up at 65. I think everybody was curious what Gamecock team we'd see tonight after a humbling loss against Vanderbilt. Well, the answer has been an emphatic yes, they have brought their A game tonight. This might be the best game, considering the competition, considering the venue, that we've seen Carolina play all year, going to Florida against a red-hot Gator team that had won 4 in a row.
And I've got South Carolina winning the last 2 times in Gainesville. And this year, Frank Martin's team has not given up less than 81 points in an SEC game. So now they got the game sort of where they can manage it, right? They average 75. This is more their tempo. Punch for punch.
Backdoor cut by Mann. Lewis inside Castleton, bellied up by McCreary. Kick out pass locked on a trade. Castleton, offensive rebound. Fresh 20 on the shot clock. Castleton splits the double, tied up, and the arrow, I believe, goes to Carolina.
So all night, South Carolina has mixed up their coverages on when they bring the double, if they bring it. And that time, Castleton, that play's too slow developing for him. He's got to make his move quicker. It allowed South Carolina to get in there and tie it up.
Each team with 2 timeouts remaining, under 3.5 to go. Woods has had the hot hand in his second half, feeling it, firing it, and hits it. 7th Woods with all 12 of his points in half number 2.
This is the most he's scored all season.
the screen from Castleton. Appleby on a blow by. Rejected by Bryant.
Well, I love the play call by Mike White. They clear it out for Appleby to go one-on-one. Great help at the rim by South Carolina. See, that's the connected defense that Frank Martin likes to talk about right there. Everyone connected.
Had been lacking much of the season. Couisnard, wide open three. Tip in by Bryant.
So active on the glass, they run the ghost screen, and that allows Bryant to be wide open. And when you take shots that you know your teammates can take and make, you can get to the glass.
A 10-0 run for the Gamecocks over the last 3.5 minutes.
They clear it out, and Bryant comes over to reject it off the glass. And then their conversion from D to O up the floor on the other end allows them to get to the glass. Bryant takes a shot that everyone knows he can take off that ghost screen.
Don't forget Texas A&M and Arkansas. Hope willing that that game will take place. Texas A&M unable to play tonight with COVID issues. Hoping to get back on the hardwood on Saturday at 6 p.m. Mike Morgan, Debbie Antonelli. Gainesville, Florida, the site of the Gators and Gamecocks. South Carolina on a 10-0 run to take a 4-point lead.
And Mike, we had been talking about Keyshawn Bryant. Like, what happened to him? Where'd he go? He was 1 for 6, and now all of a sudden he's made his last 2 baskets.
Foul drawn that time by Trey Mann. A couple of free throws coming up for the sophomore. You hit on a key point, Debbie, that Frank shared with us today. He was saying, look, talent leads the way on offense for teams. But defensively, if you're not connected, you're not a good defensive team. And quite frankly, for much of this season, they have not been connected. Not the way we're used to seeing Frank Martin teams play defense. Tonight, it's coming together.
Right, and when you're connected, you're on a string. Everybody moves together, you communicate your action. And one of the things that has been different for South Carolina is, Mike Kotsar last year, he was a terrific help side defender. He was not a great shot blocker, but he anchored the way Frank Martin likes to play. And they can't play the way he likes to play this year, so he has adapted with his personnel based on reps, practice, and COVID.
Yeah, Kotsar was one of the best defensive bigs in this league a year ago. Man splits the freebies, 3-point game. We're under 2 minutes to play. Woods still feeling it. Bryant continues his thunderous assault on the rim in the second half. Florida has not hit a field goal in 5 minutes. Big possession right here. Mann has it stolen away.
They get Trey Mann trying to get downhill, and South Carolina doing a good job of pinching into gaps and helping. That's the first time we've seen Florida run that set.
Woods can't find the connection with McCreary.
Woods gets the switch. It's short, and Bryant does a great job of following. Man, he's been attacking and assaulting the rim.
Everything he does has a violent nature to it, doesn't it?
Yes, it
every
does.
Block shot, every dunk, I mean, it's just an exclamation point. And every play he's involved in.
So Florida needs to, here you go, there's a mistake by South Carolina. Trey Mann has missed the last couple of shots he's tried.
Do you foul or do you play it straight up here?
No, you play it straight up.
Foul
I think you had time to, I think you had time there.
45 seconds remaining. Don't forget, coming up later on tonight, it'll be the crew at SEC Now. Peter Burns, Pat Bradley. Pat Bradley's Pocket Square will all be in attendance, breaking down a busy action of SEC hoops and National Signing Day in college football.
Mike, I take that back because Florida has fouls to give, so they need to foul right here. Try to get a steal, be aggressive, get a trap. You can be really aggressive trying to get a tip or deflection.
And they've only got 2 team fouls, which is almost unfathomable this late in the game. That's just their 3rd team foul. So you have to foul 4 more times to force free throws.
Yep.
And you see Mike White. Yeah.
Aggressively make a play on the ball. Now this is where South Carolina, their free throw issue could become a problem. Right? You're going to foul until you get to the number where you can put them on the line.
At this point, Mike White's just looking for ready and willing foulers because that's the #1 goal for Florida with 37 seconds. You got to get 3 of them here.
And you got to be strong with the ball if you're South Carolina. You got to cut hard, screen hard. And Florida's going to be switching on everything, but they most importantly need to foul.
There's another one. Now you need 2 more. This is like a church league game where nobody plays any defense, and then all of a sudden you're down late, so you have to foul 7 times to force your opponent to the free throw line. You rarely see this in a college game. I mean, this is so unprecedented to see a game with less than a minute to go, and Florida was sitting on 2 team fouls, so you, in essence, have to foul 5 straight times. From a strategic standpoint, that's what you need to do.
And this is a good timeout by South Carolina because I think you got to get the right personnel on the floor. The only player that is a decent free throw shooter, or above 70%, I should say, is Trey Hannibal. Everyone else is less than 70% from the free throw line. And as a team, they're 64%. So look at A.J. Lawson here. He's been terrific. He's been good and made himself available on the offensive end. He's got 21 points to lead all South Carolina scorers. He's 9 for 16 from the floor. He's got a couple of threes. He's been aggressive in transition off their defense.
And
he's a 69% free throw shooter.
He is our Zaxby's player of the game with those 21 points, 6 rebounds, and came up with a number of key shots. Kind of set the tone early on. I mean, when A.J. Lawson has it going, it's just a different looking team. I don't know if they have enough offensive weapons to win a game like this without Lawson having a big night. I will say this, though. Awfully encouraging to see 7th Woods play the way he has. 12 second-half points.
Yeah, they've got to continue to find other players that can consistently score. I think it is a much better offensive team than last year. So the next foul right here will put South Carolina to the free throw line.
This one actually matters. So Lawson will go to the line, a 1-and-1 with 32.4 seconds remaining. Lawson, 69% free throw shooter on the year. And that's right around his career mark as well.
Well, you better be ready to rebound. South Carolina has got to be able to get back on defense here because Florida's going to come down quickly. You don't need the 3. You're going to look to attack.
And he missed it, tapped around. Bryant, referee doesn't know. We don't know. It's under 2 minutes, so you know they're going to go to the monitor on this.
Right. I think you have to have a call on the floor before you can go to the monitor.
Where does this ball? I think Bryant threw it off his own foot. So this one should not take long to issue a verdict.
See, with the free throw shooting being an issue for South Carolina, you know, you have to be able to get that rebound if you're Florida. You have to know about scout that this is not a team that is a good free throw shooting team.
Well, check number one, the call, which seems to be rather obvious, and then 2, where should the clock be precisely within the 10th of a second.
Well, I'm going to presume it's Florida's ball, so they're going to move up the floor quickly. You don't have to get a 3. You take the best shot available. You look to attack, and then you're going to have to foul right away.
So Florida ball, 29 seconds. All right, let's talk a little strategy here, Debbie Antonelli. You're Florida, you are down 2 possessions here. You don't have to have a 3, and 29 seconds make it 30 can be an eternity in college basketball.
Yeah, you're going to take the best shot available. You're going to push up the floor. If you can get something to attack the pressure on not just the D, but on the officials. I like Trey Mann getting down.
Appleby draws the foul. He'll go to the free throw line for a 1-and-1. Appleby on the year, 82%. So one of your most reliable free throw shooters. I mentioned his brother Raheem, who was a good player for Mike White at Louisiana Tech. His sister, Debbie, played at Grambling. She had 2 quadruple doubles. so she's in the NCAA record book.
It's impressive.
That is a family full of ballers. You don't see many quadruple doubles in the college game.
No, you don't. And on National Girls and Women's in Sports Day, let's give it up for the sister on that one.
There you go. 2 quadruple doubles. That's insane. Appleby missed it. Oh, a huge miss. And now Lawson gets fouled. And that, it's not the dagger, but it's a major blow.
Well, now you come down on the other end here. You got to be ready to rebound. Okay, he missed the last front end of a 1-and-1. And Mike White surely thought that Appleby would be able to score a couple of points there for his team. And Florida has gone over the last 6 minutes without a field goal.
Lawson this time knocks down the first. Always so much more pressure on the 1-and-1, you know?
Yep, and I was watching Keyshawn Bryant over there attacking on the offensive rebound. Had to get Rosensa out of the game so Castleton could get it up the floor.
Still a 2-possession game, under 20 seconds to play. Man on a step-back 3, short, rebound Kusnard, and Kusnard will go to the line. Florida had opportunities late. The missed 1-and-1, not a bad look there on the 3. But this would, without question, be the biggest win of the season for Frank Martin and company if they can seal the deal.
Well, Frank Martin's team went on 2 10-0 runs here in the second half. I think they just got cold. You know, they didn't make enough shots. This is going to be huge if South Carolina can hang on here.
And the Gamecocks will do just that. First road win of the season for Carolina, and it comes against the hottest team in the SEC, winners of 4 in a row, 5 of the last 6. The Gamecocks with a 13-1 run over the final 5 minutes and 45 seconds. Carolina was a team, Debbie, we weren't sure which version we'd see tonight. Clearly, we saw the good Gamecock version in this ball game?
Well, they held Florida well below their field goal percentage from the floor and outside the arc. They did a terrific job of being on the glass and out-rebounding Florida.
Great game tonight from Gainesville. For Debbie Antonelli and our entire SEC Network crew, this is Mike Morgan saying so long from Gainesville. Gamecocks upset the Gators. The guys are going to talk about it next on SEC Now.
Indeed, we will. Welcome into SEC